If you're over 60, there's one private habit that might be silently destroying your health, and almost no one is talking about it: masturbation. Something most men see as safe and natural can become harmful with age, not because of the act itself, but because of how your aging body responds to it. What worked in your 30s or 40s could now be slowly damaging your prostate, weakening your erections, and draining your energy in ways you don't even realize. I'm Shi Heng, a martial arts master and men's health specialist with over 20 years of experience guiding aging male practitioners. I've spent decades helping men protect their vitality, recover from physical dysfunction, and preserve the quality of their lives long after retirement, and I've seen the consequences when these hidden habits go unchecked. Most men assume that if it feels good, it must be harmless, but here's the truth. It's not the act of masturbation that's risky, it's the way you're doing it. Certain techniques, frequencies and triggers can lead to long-term harm that won't show symptoms until it's too late. In this guide, I'll reveal the 4 most dangerous masturbation mistakes men over 60 make and how to avoid them. And the 4th mistake, it's the one even your trusted advisors probably haven't warned you about. Before we begin, if you're serious about protecting your health and staying strong after 60, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss critical advice made specifically for men like you. And if this message resonates with you, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0, and let me know how I can better support your journey to better health. Let's start with the first and most common mistake, one that many older men make without realizing: forcing an erection or rushing to climax even when the body is clearly signaling it needs a different approach. Mistake 1: ignoring erection quality and forcing release. I've seen this more times than I can count. An older man sitting across from me, frustrated, confused, and even ashamed. He tells me, "Shi Heng, it used to work fine, now I have to push harder. I force it just to feel something." He doesn't know it, but he's describing the first silent mistake that could be damaging his physical health in ways that may not be reversible. When you reach your 60s, your body begins to change in subtle but important ways. Blood flow decreases, nerve sensitivity shifts, and hormonal fluctuations make the entire physical response process slower and more delicate. But many men don't adjust. They try to masturbate the same way they did at 30 or 40, tight grip, fast motion, and a desperate rush to orgasm. And when it doesn't feel the same, they push even harder, both physically and emotionally. The truth is, this can be deeply harmful. Forcing climax when your body isn't ready can cause micro tears in penile tissue, irritate the urethra, and strain the muscles around the pelvic floor. Worse yet, it places unnecessary pressure on the prostate, which becomes more fragile with age. I've had students develop lingering groin discomfort, reduced sensitivity, or chronic inflammation without ever connecting it back to how they masturbate. It's not dramatic or immediate. The damage is slow, quiet, and accumulates over time. But what makes this mistake so dangerous is how invisible it is. You don't bleed, you don't bruise, you just slowly start to feel less arousal, less sensation, less confidence. And so you push harder, again and again, until your body can't keep up. That's when deeper problems emerge, like erectile dysfunction, prostate swelling, or even urinary troubles that interrupt your sleep and independence. If any of this feels familiar, know this: it's not your fault, and you're not alone. Most men were never taught that after 60, physical activity needs to be approached with care, presence, and respect for the body's new rhythm. You're not doing it wrong, you just need to do it differently. Instead of forcing your body to respond, learn to listen to it. Use slower, more intentional movements. Focus on sensation, not just release. Let arousal build naturally without pressure. And above all, treat your body not as a machine to fix, but as a part of you to understand. Because when you finally stop pushing and start paying attention, everything begins to change. And that brings us to the next mistake, one that doesn't just affect your body, but rewires your brain in ways that can sabotage real connection and lasting pleasure. Mistake 2, using pornography as the only stimulus. I still remember the look on a student's face when I asked him about his habits. He was 67, well-educated, and trying to understand why his desire for real intimacy had vanished. He told me, "Shi Heng, I don't feel anything anymore unless I'm watching something online, and even then it's not like it used to be." That quiet admission, spoken with a mix of confusion and shame, is something I've heard from countless older men, and it often points to one of the most overlooked but damaging habits after 60, using pornography as your sole source of physical stimulation. At this stage of life, your brain doesn't process stimulation the same way it once did. High-speed, high-intensity content overstimulates the reward centers of the brain, flooding it with dopamine in ways that real-life intimacy simply can't match. Over time, your nervous system adapts. It becomes desensitized. What used to bring you pleasure now feels dull. What used to excite you now barely gets a response. You start chasing more extreme content, longer sessions, more frequent use, and all the while, your brain's natural ability to enjoy touch, connection, and arousal begins to fade. This isn't about morality, it's about biology. The overuse of pornography at an older age silently chips away at your physical vitality. It rewires your reward system, making it harder to respond to your partner, harder to find satisfaction in physical touch, and harder to feel that sense of closeness that real intimacy provides. You may start feeling more isolated, emotionally disconnected, even depressed, and not understand why. The deeper harm is emotional as much as physical. I've had men in tears telling me they no longer feel like themselves. They missed the days when desire came naturally, when they could enjoy a moment of closeness without needing a screen. The saddest part is, many of them never knew that this habit, done in private, could have such public consequences in their relationships, their confidence, and their overall well-being. But it's not too late to change. Your brain is incredibly adaptable, even after 60. With time and intention, you can retrain your mind to respond to real-world connection. Start by reducing screen use, using memory, fantasy, or even reading to reawaken your inner world. You'll be amazed at how much life returns when you stop numbing it. And as we look deeper, there's another mistake that's just as quiet, but even more physically draining. In fact, it might be the very reason some men wake up exhausted, lose interest in life, and can't figure out why their energy keeps fading. Mistake 3. Masturbating too frequently for your age and energy levels. He sat quietly for a moment before finally asking, "Is it possible I'm doing it too often?" He was 71, in decent health but constantly tired, irritable, and unable to focus. His sleep had worsened, and his motivation to do the things he once enjoyed, gardening, biking, even socializing, was fading. He thought it might be age, but after digging deeper, we discovered something else. He was masturbating almost daily, sometimes more than once a day, thinking it was helping him relax. In truth, it was silently draining him. There's an idea many men carry through life that ejaculation is always healthy, always a release. And while that might have been mostly true in your 30s or 40s, your body after 60 plays by different rules. Your hormonal recovery slows, your nervous system takes longer to reset, and your energy, once easily replenished, becomes a more precious resource. Frequent ejaculation, especially when you're tired, bored, or stressed, doesn't calm the body. It depletes it, and the cost adds up. What's most dangerous is how quietly this mistake unfolds. You don't notice it after one time or even 5, but over weeks or months, you might start waking up groggy, your drive fades, your mood drops, and you chalk it up to aging. In reality, your body is signaling that it needs to conserve more, not expend more. Masturbating too often when your system is already taxed can lead to testosterone dips, disrupted sleep cycles, and even strain on your prostate, contributing to urinary urgency and nighttime awakenings. I'm not saying you need to stop altogether. In fact, some level of physical expression is healthy at any age, but it must be aligned with your body's current rhythm. Where once you could bounce back in hours, now you may need days. The key is listening, not pushing. For some, cutting back to once or twice a week brings a noticeable boost in energy, clarity, and emotional balance. Others explore forms of stimulation that don't always end in ejaculation, giving them connection without depletion. When you stop treating your body like a machine and start treating it like a wise, responsive partner, everything shifts. You regain strength, not by doing more, but by doing less with more care. But if this mistake drains your body, the next one targets something even more vulnerable, your prostate. And what most men don't realize is that how you treat this tiny gland during and after self-pleasure could shape your comfort, your bladder control, and your long-term health in ways you never expected. Mistake 4. Ignoring prostate health during self-pleasure. I'll never forget the student who came to me with a subtle complaint. Nothing sharp or sudden, just a nagging sense of pressure after climax, and a feeling like he was never fully relieved. He was 68, active, relatively healthy, but uncomfortable in a way he couldn't quite explain. At first, he didn't connect it to his solo habits. "I've always done it this way," he said, and that's exactly what made this mistake so dangerous. It was silent, familiar, and slowly wearing down one of the most sensitive parts of his body, his prostate. After 60, the prostate becomes more vulnerable. It's a small gland, but its role in male health is enormous. During masturbation, especially if done while sitting in a slouched position or applying pressure to the perineum, the prostate can become inflamed or irritated without you even realizing it. Add to that a habit of skipping post-ejaculation urination, something many men overlook, and you have a perfect storm for lingering inflammation, discomfort, or even chronic prostatitis. The danger here isn't just the occasional ache, it's the build-up over time. This quiet strain can interfere with bladder control, causing urgency, weak flow, or more frequent nighttime trips to the bathroom. You may notice a burning sensation during urination, a heaviness in the pelvic area, or a general feeling of tension that never quite goes away. And yet, most men don't think to trace these symptoms back to how they touch themselves. They blame age, diet, or just assume it's part of getting older, but it's not. You have more control than you think. Small changes, like urinating after climax to flush the urethra, adjusting your position to reduce pressure, and being more mindful of how often and how forcefully you stimulate, can make a profound difference. Protecting your prostate isn't just about preventing disease, it's about preserving comfort, confidence, and control in your daily life. I've seen men in their 70s regain peace in their bodies just by learning to treat their prostate with a little more care. It doesn't require medication or radical change, just awareness and a willingness to adapt. And now that you understand how these 4 silent habits can chip away at your health, it's time to bring it all together, because knowing the mistakes is one thing, but learning how to rebuild strength, sensitivity, and satisfaction after 60, that's where real transformation begins. After watching Shi Heng's guide on the 4 silent mistakes men over 60 make regarding self-pleasure, I found myself deeply moved by the blend of compassion, wisdom, and practicality in his approach. The video doesn't just highlight mistakes, it offers a profound perspective on aging, self-awareness, and the importance of listening to one's body. Shi Heng's insights resonate because they address not only physical health but also emotional and mental well-being, urging men to redefine masculinity through sensitivity and intention rather than force. This message struck a chord with me, as it challenges the societal notion that aging equates to decline and instead presents it as an opportunity for growth and deeper self-connection. The first lesson I took away is the power of presence. Shi Heng emphasizes slowing down and tuning into the body's signals rather than rushing toward a goal. This applies beyond the context of the video to daily life, whether it's eating, working, or interacting with others. Forcing outcomes, whether in physical activities or personal goals, often leads to burnout or unintended consequences. By practicing patience and mindfulness, I can make decisions that honor my current state, whether it's choosing rest over overexertion or savoring a moment instead of hurrying through it. This shift in perspective fosters a sense of calm and respect for my body's natural rhythm. The second takeaway is the danger of overstimulation, particularly from habits like excessive pornography use. Shi Heng's explanation of how it rewires the brain made me reflect on my own habits, not just in terms of media consumption, but in how I seek instant gratification in other areas, like scrolling social media or overindulging in distractions. The lesson here is to cultivate balance and reconnect with authentic sources of joy, such as meaningful conversations, hobbies, or quiet reflection. By reducing reliance on external stimuli, I can nurture a deeper appreciation for real-world connections and rediscover intrinsic motivation in my daily life. Another powerful insight is the concept of energy conservation. Shi Heng's discussion about frequent masturbation draining energy resonated as a metaphor for overextending oneself in any area, work, relationships, or personal pursuits. After 60, energy becomes a precious resource, and I've learned to prioritize quality over quantity. In practice, this means setting boundaries, saying no to unnecessary commitments, and focusing on activities that replenish rather than deplete. For instance, I've started allocating time for restorative practices like meditation or light exercise, which boost my clarity and mood without taxing my system. Finally, the emphasis on prostate health and small, intentional changes taught me the value of proactive care. Shi Heng's advice to urinate after climax or adjust posture to reduce strain is a reminder that small habits can prevent significant issues. This translates to life as a whole. Consistent, mindful actions like eating well, staying active, or checking in with my emotions build long-term resilience. It's empowering to know that I have control over my well-being through simple, deliberate choices. In conclusion, Shi Heng's guide is a wake-up call to approach aging with wisdom, not resistance. By listening to my body, balancing stimulation, conserving energy, and making small adjustments, I can live more fully in the present and maintain vitality. These lessons aren't just for men over 60. They're universal principles for anyone seeking a healthier, more connected life. If this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe with the bell on to stay updated with more transformative advice. Drop a comment below, type 1 if this inspired you, or let us know how you'll apply these lessons to your journey.